So my friend, I have a friend with autism, and he's one of my best friends in the whole world. And we were talking about works because me and him have this discussion a lot, where he's talking about oh. Hold on, let me get the other side so you can see some of this wildness. They're just walking across the street when a car's coming, or he's starting to. But no, me and him were talking about works, and he's like saved by grace, and I pointed out the letter of James in the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, and I was basically like pointing out, like, while I don't disagree with you, and it's like, well, what's like saved by faith, right? What's the evidence of faith? Aren't works evidence of real faith? And it was really interesting. At one point in the conversation, he said, this might not be verbatim, because I don't remember if it was it or M. So like two words might be off in this quote. But he said, I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I want to put a smile on God's face. Ruminate on that for a second while I go get some cologne for the interview. Oh, I forgot you guys were here. I was thinking about how stubborn certain members of my family are, and there we go. And I pretty much immediately realized, like, yeah, I'm stubborn too. It's like it runs in the family. But I also realized that there was an old mentor I had. Now, I'm not saying he was the best influence all around. He did some things that he shouldn't have done. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to name the man. And I wanted to be hungry soon, but I got to go to the Dollar General to get the cologne. I normally don't wear cologne. Like, I'm already married, so it's like, what's the point, kind of? I mean, it smells good, but like, I'm trying to save money. As much as I like those little niceties, I'm pretty used to in life going without. Like, I was just walking out there in my shorts in the cold weather, and I was like, man, I remember how rough life was for a while, dude. Because that used to be every day, and it actually used to be worse than that and it used to be colder out than this, and my pants used to be soaking wet from washing dishes all day because I would spill it all over me. I had high anxiety, and I was going through a lot in life. Like, I didn't have a bed. I had half a room, half a bedroom. Someone basically like someone I cared about like a lot, basically talked me out of going to college. This is before got my 3 degrees. And like I didn't feel like I'd be able to get anywhere in life. I was like, I'm here, I'm like working at McDonald's. I'm like I felt hopeless and had high anxiety. I wasn't as experienced with crowds of people. This is before I did public speaking. This was before, I was, at a job where I'm doing customer service on a regular basis. This is before I ever did a public speech outside of like talking in front of the class, and even that, I think there was more than once I was able to get out of it. So it was like, like high anxiety, like from like life and circumstances, and I would walk home. So like the anxiety mode, so I was doing everything fast, I was doing things haphazardly, and even if I wasn't, like getting things done quickly and on time, and getting things even not quickly, I would get soaked. That's probably why a lot of people didn't want to wash the dishes. And like my pants would be soaked, my shirt and like vest, or no, I didn't have a vest there. It was it was like they had like their own shirts. But yeah, like my shirt would be wet, my pants would be soaked, my socks and shoes would be all wet, and like it would be like colder than this, like, and I would be walking home for like 45 minutes. It would probably be longer than that because I'd probably be walking slower because it was cold. I think, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I got frostbite more than once, but, it's funny too, because, like, people will bring up, like, well, like, what do you, like, are you sick? Are you feeling this or that? And it's like, dude, I don't know. I'm so used to ignoring and, like, trudging through, like, the literal, like, physical pain and just getting it done. Now that my body is starting to break down, and I think that's part of why my body's broken down so much more than other people. I actually pushed myself way more because I was highly ambitious. I was like, I'm going to keep the job. I mean, because like despite like the internal like I'm never going to get anywhere, there was still a part of me that's like, I got to keep going. I got to keep doing it. And of course I picked up things like drinking and stuff, and there are a lot of reasons that I can cite. And I have cited, like, I think at least 2 of the reasons, but, like, part of it is like, it's like you're constantly physically and, like, miserable, like you're emotionally distant from most people in that circle, like, that time of my life. And it was because, like, nobody's, like, I don't have relatable, problems. Most people, you know what I mean? Most people aren't dealing with that kind of an issue. They're not, like, you know what I mean? Like, in those circumstances. And I remember, I'm so glad I got out of that. I'm so thankful and grateful for that. Praise God. And I think it built a lot of character, but like my body is dying, so I'm hoping that I get one of the jobs I'm looking for. And I'm really hoping that I just make some more money and feel like I'm doing something meaningful and all that stuff. And no offense to people working at McDonald's. It's like, dude, like McDonald's is work. Walmart is work. And it's I would say, you know what I mean? I would say, this is the road I used to go down. Really beautiful, but dude, what I used to do to my body. Oh my. People wonder why I have so many health issues. It's like, man, I refuse not to go to work and like be there on time and stuff. And like nowadays, I'm a lot more relaxed than I used to be. But like at the time, I had no degrees. I I had no car. At times I had no bike. And, I had, I was just pushing through it because I was determined not to become in a position where I can't get anything done. There are, like, I would say the vast majority of kids that I'm aware of probably would not, like, I think the majority of adults wouldn't have pushed themselves as much as I did. And a lot of people try to lessen how rough it was, like the things that I went through. I remember, and it's like, that's not, like, no, like, I'm looking back on it from a place where I'm much more well off in terms of my resume, in terms of my job prospects, in terms of just having a vehicle and having 2 storage units, and having a house overseas, which, if I can save enough money to go back and visit again, it's a pretty affordable place to live. You don't have to spend a lot of money if you have people on the inside, not getting the scammer taxis and stuff at the airport that charge you $30 instead of $8. But, like, getting there is the trouble, is saving the money to get there. But it's like I'm way better off than I used to be. I'm not quite, like, I'm obviously not where I want to be yet, but, like, I don't know if I'll ever be where I want to be. The goalposts can always go forward, but, like, my initial desire, like my earlier desires for what I wanted, which was basically an entire room to myself, was like the big thing. And if I can ever achieve it, a house. Well, I got a house that I can't really use, so most of the time. So it's like, but it's still something. Like, I did that, kind of, fulfilling that. And then, as far as the room goes, it's like the 2 storage units. The 1 storage unit, like, kind of looks like a room. Obviously, I'm not going to put a bed in there or anything, because at the end of the day, the storage unit is a blooming storage unit. You know what I mean? It is not my bedroom. And obviously you can't sleep in it, but, like, I'm organizing things, that I'm getting it, like, basically ready for a move. And obviously I might want to organize more and more and more. I'm organizing things in different containers, and those containers will have, will probably be, like, alphabetized and or, arranged by type of thing. But, at the end of the day, it's like things are getting done with that. And it, like, looks like, in many respects, a proper bedroom in a sense. And, this is like, I'm getting closer, man. And at least I have a vehicle. Like, I'm not walking here for like 3 hours. And, like, I wouldn't even be able to get to Gaithersburg beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, I am living in a way that I never would have been able to in the past. And that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing. But, like, the people that try to, like, they'll try to, like say that it wasn't as bad. Like, it was. And, like, once, the more power I get, the more and more power I get, the more and more, I'm not planning to attack the people who said those things or who hurt me, but I am planning to definitely share my story. I don't need sympathy or pity. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't know that was ever what I was looking for. And maybe at some point in time I was, I don't know, or I'm not 100% sure on that one, but maybe. But I think the primary thing that I've been looking for the entire time, I don't know. Honestly, I might never have been looking for pity. I think a lot of people probably think that, but I don't know if I ever was. The thing I've been looking for has been, I think there's like 2 big things. A sense of care / empathy, and the big thing, I think, which I think connects to those things, is like people who've gone through similar experiences just being like, man, yeah, I ought to do that too, man. Like, I didn't like that, man. Like, that was rough, blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? Like, people do not seem to fully comprehend. Well, they do. They know how rough it was, I think. They don't want to think about it. And especially if you tell other family members who, a lot of family members feel like it's their responsibility to help out with those kind of things. I think they feel guilty. But it's like, should you have helped? Sure. Would I have helped in that situation? Sure, I probably would have done something. I mean, heavens. One of the things too is like, you, and I think this is a way to address people, like, oftentimes is like, you don't have to necessarily offer the help. You can tell them you can't help them. I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm that. My car broke down, or whatever the case, or I don't have that tool, or I can't, I don't know enough about this to help you with this. You don't have to necessarily do that with people. And like the kind of things that I think I was hoping for, you can just like, you can express, and I am the kind of person to express these kind of things. Just express that you yeah, friend, that sucks, man. Like, I'm sorry you're going through that, man. Like, just keep hanging in there. I know you're strong enough. I know you will get there, despite this challenge. And you'll look back on this and you'll have an amazing dad story. You'll have an amazing story to tell the world. You got this. I know you're a strong person. Don't ever forget it. I wish I could do more. I care about you. Take care of yourself. I know you got this. You know what I mean? That, to me, I think is the kind of thing that for years and years of my life, and I don't think I'm ever going to find it from well, maybe not never, but I don't know I'll ever find that from another person. I give that, but I don't know if I'll ever find that from another human being. That's what I was looking for years, I think, when I was struggling and like in a position, I don't know that, and my brother has talked about, like, I think something similar as well, and like, he didn't have to go through like half of what I went through, and like, he's like, yeah, this is not normal living, kind of thing. Like, this is rough. And yeah, and like, looking back on all this stuff, it's amazing. And my brother is probably the closest person I've got to anything like that. He's like, just have like one of the big things, like just having somebody that cares, and once you have somebody that cares, now some people will drag it on and on and on. Some people will start to let it go. You finally addressed the elephant in the room that they brought in. It's like, yeah, that is a rough circumstance to live in, and it's like, once that's addressed, they might be able to move on emotionally a little bit. Now, give it a month or so, and they might be back to their old ways again of hoping that somebody cares. But like, with a lot of people going through rough times where they don't have like a friend or a family member to talk to, they don't have a vehicle, and they're like getting drenched from work and walking home in the freezing cold. It's like, it's like getting frostbite and stuff, and these sleeping on the floor in like a dirty home in half a bedroom. It's like, a lot of time, and people go through way worse than that. Like, I've had so many homeless friends, and even now, although life is looking up, with my like master's degree and like my teaching experience, there is I sleep above a hole in the floor. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like, it's gotten a lot better, and I'm cleaning things up in my life, but it's still like, it's not there yet. And but like, I'm not complaining about, because like right now I feel so much better than I did. And even the grievances I do have, it's nothing in comparison to that. So I really I don't know that there's as much of a push to complain about it. I like talking about things that make me happy. Even despite the things. And like, a lot of people are like that. Like, people after a certain, event or age, their body starts hurting them constantly. But you don't focus on that all the time. You might bring it up in passing, but you don't bring it up all the time, right? But like, that time period, like when I was younger though, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, that was like the roughest time in my life. And like, see, it's funny too, it's like, I did not know that things would change so drastically. I think I felt so stuck and hopeless that I didn't realize what was going to happen. But I was able to work 2 full-time jobs. Well, I fell in love with a girl after a kiss, and it was like a real kind of love. I worked 2 full-time jobs. I'm talking like 60 hours a week. I think it might have been more than that. I would literally drive from one job to the other and sleep at the job before my shift, and then go to my shift. That's how rough it was. And guess what? I was able to travel to Ukraine. All of that difficulty that I had in the past kind of paid off in a way because I was able to use my ability to resist, um, like the body telling me to sleep, the body telling me to stop doing this or that. I was able to have so much mental control that I was able to do that. I was able to work basically like almost constantly, and a lot of people have that. But I think I did it. I think that previous preparation, I think, gave me better. I think it helped mature me because a lot of people who do that, I think a lot of people who do the two full-time jobs thing, I think often have a level of discipline before, and I almost wonder if having my comforts taken away was God's way of preparing me. Now, a lot of parents will prepare their children for that, like discipline them to prepare them for that kind of like those kind of grueling experiences where you're working two full-time jobs. For me, I think it was my Father in heaven preparing me potentially. And and realistically, the two full-time jobs was nothing in comparison to like the other stuff I've been going through. But I was able to do that so much more. Like I was so much more determined. I think not determined, but like I was so much more ready to do that. I think most people would be. You see how like the vast majority of people aren't doing. I meet some people who do that, but it's very seldom. And the people who do that, and like yeah, I was able to do that, and I was able to go to Ukraine and Poland. And then on top of that, right after that, I went to Florida and Georgia and Alabama, places I had never been before. Two new countries, a whole new continent, and three new states, and a bunch of different flights, even a rickety one, more professional one, not the biggest, not the most professional flight I've ever had, but it was one of the most amazing experiences in my entire life, and it showed me that with the hard work, despite how rough it was, because it felt like for years I was getting no rest, I was still able to utilize my ability to endure to end up going to other countries, even though it cost me a lot of pain and probably did a lot of damage in my body. And but I realized that I can do this, and I think that revelation is what finally broke kind of a big portion of the negative thinking, where it's like it's no longer like I hope I get there but I don't think I ever will, to like there's actually a chance at this. And ever since, like after that revelation, it's like I can work two jobs because she was what pushed me to do that. I loved her that much. It was an innocent kind of love, but it was a real, like, being in love, in love. I worked two jobs. I went over there and I came back. And even though we broke up shortly thereafter, I realized that I was capable of getting this done despite the obstacles and the seeming impossibility. And I went on and I got my high school diploma. I got my associate's degree, or I got my high school diploma, or I got my driver's license, high school diploma, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, and master's degree. And then what I ended up, oh, fudge. What I ended up doing from then, well, in between then, during my associates and my bachelor's, I had student teaching experiences. Right after I got my bachelor's and my teaching certification, I ended up teaching at a private school. And on top of that, I ended up um, I ended up tutoring adults later on. And now I'm having other interviews. And it's like, yeah, it's like it's possible, man. It's totally possible. I I didn't mean to focus so much on the two full-time jobs because that's something a lot of people do go through. That again, that wasn't really the focal point of the suffering. The focal point of the suffering was like a lot of the other stuff put together. The two full-time jobs. That's I think most people work. Well, I shouldn't say most people. I think a significant portion of ambitious adults will work two full-time jobs at some point in their life. I think that's not unexpected. But oh, I guess they don't want to walk. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid you get your steps in. Jeez. The unfortunate reality is there is a lack of intelligence in the United States of America. There's also a level of laziness that is embarrassing. People illegally parking just so they don't have to walk is embarrassing. Hmm. Y'all keep stopping in. Oh. Hey, I'll be back on. If anybody is watching still, I'll be right back on. Hold on. I can tell you after the interview, I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm about to go get some cologne. I'm pretty sure they're still open. They're probably a few more minutes. I'm about to go get some cologne for the interview. I don't usually wear cologne anymore. I love it. It smells good, but like I've been, mostly just saving money. Oh, after the interview, though, remember, I want to stop by the college and I want to introduce myself to potentially to the hiring staff. And, at that point, like, I've done it before, but I want to do it again because they have new employees there. So that'll be on the way back. I can let you know approximately what time I'll be back in Aberdeen, if you'd like. Well, of course you'd like to. Who wouldn't? We got to do this before you leave again. Hey, Grace. But I got to get going pretty soon, but I wanted to let you know you're a good friend, and I appreciate you. I know I've been in the past asking a lot from you, and you've been helping when you feel comfortable. But you know what? Hold on one second. I'm just gonna go do it. But Grace. Here, hold on. I'm just gonna go do it. But I really appreciate you, and you've been the kind of friend that I think have been needing from over there because, over there everybody's asking you for money and stuff. You haven't asked me. In fact, you've given me things, and you know, it's I appreciate you.